right, we're good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call this meeting to order, the Mayor and Board of Commissioners. Can I get the roll call, please?
Yes, Commissioner Braun,
Here.
Commissioner Pearson,
Here.
Commissioner Shepard,
Here.
Commissioner Warnick. Let the record show you do have a quorum.
Will you rise with me for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, will you bow your heads with me for a brief prayer? Father God, I come to you on behalf of our town, Lord. I ask that you watch over our citizens. I ask that you watch over our elected body and their families, Lord. Please be with us as we're here this evening, and as we leave, be with our police officers, our first responders, our fire, our EMS, as well as troops serving here and overseas. In Jesus' name, amen. All right. First on the agenda is, it looks like it's going to be citizens' input. Would anyone like to speak this evening? All right, hearing no one. Into staff reports. Judy.
What I would be reporting on today is the election. We do have absentee ballots on their way. The last day to request an absentee ballot is October the 8th. We are holding the election on October the 18th. Polls will open at 8 o'clock, close at 8 o'clock. And we do have our voter registration books. We have 1,713 voters registered for Rising Sun. Any questions at all from anyone about the election?
Judy, if you would, could you name the candidates?
Oh, sure.
List the candidates.
We did have 3 positions open. We had the mayor and 2 commissioners. Travis Marion is the mayor's candidate for mayor, and Dave Warnick and Joseph Shepard III are the candidates for commissioner.
Thank you, Judy.
You're very welcome.
All right, Chief.
I hope you don't mind, I'll just do it from here since there's a microphone in front of me this time.
That's fine.
A couple things I just wanted to bring to the attention of the board as part of the police reform. The first phase of those changes will come into play this Friday. House Bill 600 dictates that any police-involved fatality or police-involved shooting is investigated by an independent segment of the Attorney General's office. That will be in place, and all agencies in the state will be a part of that. In addition to that, there's other bills that will be coming online in the next few months. The Accountability Board will be created sometime in July of 2022. In addition, that bill, HB 670, requires that all law enforcement officers have a psychological exam every 2 years. So there isn't any funding that comes with that. It just says that each agency will make sure their officers have that exam done. We're looking at a cost of about $500 to $600 per officer to have that done. In addition to that, it also dictates that there is an accountability board and a discipline review board that has to be created at the county level. There will be no input from the municipalities on any disciplinary matter that's involving the town's personnel. So those things are concerning to us, and that's something that each municipality needs to look into. Is there any questions? I'll leave it at that. We'll go into another presentation another day when I can give you more information on them.
Any questions for the chief? All right, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Town Administrator, do you have a report this evening?
Yeah, if you bear with me for a second, I want to try to walk the residents through tonight on how they can start viewing our meetings live on YouTube. But I wanted to establish a couple other technical things that we are doing. Anyone who is watching the meeting on Zoom right now, which we don't have anybody other than our consultants watching it, or anyone who tunes in to the YouTube recording like they typically have done in the past when it's loaded a couple days from now, is going to see up on the screen that we are going to continue to use Zoom as a way of allowing our town engineers and town attorney to be able to participate in the meetings. And then in addition, if we have elected officials that for business, that are away on business, will still be able to participate in the town meeting. So we're going to be using Zoom for that purpose. In the past, we used Zoom for our residents to be able to log in and view the meetings, especially during these turbulent COVID times that we're going through. However, and we have worked with Dennis Cassidy, the gentleman who's been videotaping our meetings for the last couple of years, and we now have the ability to have these meetings go live on YouTube. And what I want to do is share my screen. Actually, if nobody's, well, I'll do it for the purposes of the mayor and some of the people tuning in on Zoom now so that they can see it. What you would be able to do is if you log into the town's website, if you see up on the screen, and you click on the town meetings button down at the bottom of the website on the left-hand side, I think it's the tab on the lower left-hand side, you will be taken automatically to the town's YouTube page. And when we go live with the meetings, you would see an option right here that has today's date of the meeting on it and a button to click on live, and you will be able, if you see up on the screen, and you click on, and there is a delay in that, as you can see, on that. There's a slight delay on that. But you would be able to see the meeting. Now, you're not able to participate in the meeting, so there won't be the option for citizens' comment under this YouTube feature, because it just gives you the ability to see the meeting itself is all you really have access to. So that's a new wrinkle that we've introduced to our residents to give them even more transparency into what happens here at our town hall meetings. So I wanted to introduce that tonight, that's another avenue for our residents to be able to see the town meetings. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. And the other couple things that I wanted to bring you up to date on is at 301 Walnut Street, which is one of the, it's the last house in the original Stevens Preserve development that was building, I believe, 5 or 6 houses along Walnut Street there. There's a corner lot that's left over. If you remember a couple of months ago, Habitat for Humanity was looking to build a rancher there that's consistent with other ranchers in the area. At that time, they were building a house that was about 64 square feet smaller than what was permitted by the zoning code. And they were originally going to go through the variance process to get a variance to be able to proceed with that. They then decided not to go through the variance and actually just build a bigger house. So that's what they are doing. It is a modular house. It's going to be dropped off there in about another 2 weeks. It'll be stored on site, Chief. They are winterizing it, and the open sides will be closed in with plywood. I spoke to the folks from Habitat for Humanity about our favorite legal term, attractive nuisance, and told them that they have to make sure that they, bear in mind that with the modular house sitting there, it can be very attractive for kids or whatever to want to go in there. But they've assured me that it's going to be completely closed off when it's sitting there. It'll be sitting up on blocks on the property, waiting for the foundation to be dug. It's not going to have a basement underneath it. It is going to have like a 4-foot crawl space in there. So once they dig the foundation for that, then they will set the modular home in there and put it together. They're expecting the project to be done around February of this year, or I'm sorry, of next year. So we met out there the other day with the county Department of Public Works to go over some of the stormwater management criteria that they had to address too. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that lot is going to be developed by Habitat for Humanity, and they are also in the process of reaching out to all the area property owners there to let them know that they are coming with the house. Does anybody have any questions on that? The other thing I wanted to update you on is the Board of Zoning Appeals and the Planning Commission have been very active over the last 2 months. We've had 2 separate variance requests for essentially porches, overhangs over front decks, one in the Valley View development and the other one on Cooper Avenue. Both of those successfully secured their variances, but one of the discussions that came up with the Board of Appeals, and it was directed to the Planning Commission to address, was essentially when you're dealing with variances, and if you find yourself issuing variances repeatedly over and over, it raises a question of why not change the zoning code so that you're not having people come forward for the same types of variances over and over again. The other thing that was talked about is putting some criteria in on this type of variance request that would allow the staff to administratively make the decision and not have it go through the Board of Appeals. And in this particular case, we're talking about a very narrowly focused issue where somebody wants to put a deck or a porch overhang over a deck that only encroaches into the front yard setback no more than a certain percentage. And there's a million other criteria that it's going to have to meet, but they become rather straightforward. So in this case, the board was talking about setting a policy that administratively, if a variety of criteria is met and the encroachment is no more than 28% of what is required in the front yard, that administratively the staff would be able to make that decision. And that's actually very similar to numerous sections in our zoning code that talk about special exceptions, in which one example is a daycare. If you're looking to open up a daycare of 6 children or less in the town of Rising Sun, there are criteria that you have to meet. And if you're able to meet all that criteria, then administratively, the staff can approve that special exception. If you can't meet any of that criteria, or you're wanting to have more than 6 children, then you have to go forward with the variance and or the special exception. So that's something that the Board of Zoning Appeals is asking the Planning Commission to look at. If they decide to take that up, they would be making a recommendation to the elected body for that. That's a decision that the elected body ultimately has to decide upon. It would be an ordinance change, a zoning ordinance change. The other thing that I want to stress is that on the Board of Appeals, we are still looking for people to serve on the Board of Appeals. Our Planning Commission is running really well right now. We have 7 really good quality members on it. We're having good meetings, but our Board of Appeals only has 2 members on it, which is going to make it interesting if there's ever a tie vote on the Board of Appeals. So that is a 5-member board, and we really need to get, 3 more members, if not at least 1 more member, 3 more total members to fill out that board. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Town Administrator. Town Attorney?
Good evening, everybody. I do not have a report for you tonight. I am just happy to be back among you. I have lots of meetings set up with Calvin and our engineers over the next couple weeks to try to get things moving along, because as it always would happen, things are going to break now when we're ready to do, all our projects will happen all at one time. So we've been in touch with Southern States. I'm going to be in touch with the county regarding the tax issue, the tax sale issue, and then the town manager has a bunch of other projects. So lots more things to come in the future.
Thank you, Jay. We're glad to have you back. Glad you're feeling better. Town Engineer, do you have anything this evening?
Good evening, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. Yes, just a couple quick things on my end, and then we'll pass it off to Scott. Sort of as Jay was just mentioning, with there's so many projects on our radar, there's a couple things we're doing to help with overall organization and prioritization. We are creating an overall townwide CIP map, primarily geared towards water, wastewater projects, but we also add road and stormwater as well. That will serve as a visual that we can not only keep all these projects straight and make sure they're accounted for in your CIP with the correct priority, but we're also attaching the latest cost estimates to them, so we can start the accounting process of attributing the several different grant and funding options out there and make them geared towards the higher priority projects. I believe it'll be a helpful tool for everyone. So we're going to present it to Calvin later this week, and then it'll be available for anyone within town that would like to see it and use it as a tool. As a follow-up to the last meeting we had, we will be including I&I investigations and any subsequent mitigation efforts needed for inflow and infiltration on these subject roadways for these projects in the CIP, because we have learned that we expect that terracotta pipe may be a common occurrence throughout the town's older infrastructure. So we'll make sure to address that handily as well. The CIP map, it will include both the anticipated extensions to get to reach out with your utilities for new service areas, as well as rehabbing some of the older infrastructure that needs either upgrades or improvements. To go along with that, we're also assisting the town with the updates for the water and sewer comp plans. Anybody has any specific questions or wants me to drill down deeper on any of them, I'd be happy to before I pass it over to Scott. Okay, well, I'm here if anybody has any follow-up questions, but for now, Scott, I will pass it off to you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ryan, and good evening, everyone. I'm going to be very brief if possible. Harmony Construction is progressing through the street program. As we indicated at the last meeting, Louise Court paving is done. There's still some striping that needs to be completed, and we've been speaking with the town manager on possible ways to get that done. There's been a backlog in receiving paint for a while. The concrete work on Turtleback Court is done, and tomorrow they're supposed to pour the last section of concrete on Mason Run Lane, and then we'll be sliding the concrete work over to Pearl Street. And our last discussion with the contractor, they're going to be bringing in a second crew to do concrete work on Carruthers. Based on some comments from the contractor and also comments from commissioners at the last meeting, the contractor has agreed to do some core sampling of both Turtleback Court and Mason Run Lane to confirm the actual pavement thickness that's out there and what the subbase may be, so that we can gather quickly after those corings are back and decide whether we have to modify the paving section or maybe modify the base once we mill the road. So that is a big question mark at the moment that we plan to work through solutions with the contractor and also the town manager if necessary. But the plan is to do corings tomorrow, kind of gather the information and discuss it as the week progresses, and then hopefully bring in the milling machine early next week to begin milling on Turtleback Court, and then immediately try to pave as soon as we get the milling out of the way, and then move to Mason Run. Concrete work is scheduled to begin later this week on Pearl Street. We expect that to take a week or two to get finished, and then hopefully the concrete work on Pearl Street will be finishing up as we finish paving on Mason Run, so we can move immediately to pave both Pearl Street and Carruthers Street. We are going to look at some spot milling and some spot patching on Mount Street, but those limits right now are not defined from us and the contractor. And that's really the update from the street program. The town manager and I have talked about some upcoming development applications and some pending development applications. So I'm sure my meetings will follow up with the town attorney, the town manager, and probably Ryan on various things that they're working on. So it's accelerating the work. It's going to be a busy October, and hopefully we'll finish on time and within everybody's expectations. So the project seems to be going well at this point. The contractor has been very responsive, and I think we've resolved any complaints or comments that we received from either commissioners or town manager or even citizens along those roads. So I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Brian and Scott.
Thank you.
All right, moving into the mayor's report. I would be amiss if I didn't say a sincere congratulations to Commissioner Dave Warnick and Commissioner Joe Shepard for joining me again in an unopposed election. From my understanding, this is only the second time for a mayor's race that this has ever occurred. I've said numerous times that being an elected official definitely has an impact on your family and your friends and your time. You will definitely be loved by some and hated by others. This is even more prevalent with social media and the group threads and comments that are sometimes just filled with nothing but hate. But it's an honor to work with both of you, and I look forward to the positive impact that we are going to continue to have as we move Rising Sun towards a more sustainable future. I also wanted to, I would be amiss if I didn't take a moment to speak a little bit about what the town administrator did about our YouTube channel going live. It's another way that we are working to be more and more transparent as citizens get involved and may not be able to make a town meeting but want to be able to tune in to us. We have a lot of different ways that you can do that, not only through social media but through our webpage. So it's just another great way for citizens to get involved and to know what is going on in their community. I think that is so important. Upcoming things on the agenda, the board and I will all be attending, from my understanding, on October the 9th, the 100th anniversary of the Community Fire Company of Rising Sun. We look forward to being a part of that. And then on Saturday, October the 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m., our annual Fall Spectacular is back. So we're looking forward to a beautiful fall day, hopefully, that families can come out and enjoy our Fall Spectacular. That is the end of my report. Moving forward into commissioner comments. Commissioner Braun.
I have no comments.
Commissioner Pearson.
None.
Commissioner Shepard.
No report tonight.
All right. Commissioner Warnick, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I'll just say I look forward to continuing to work with the board over the next 4 years and moving the town forward.
Thanks, Dave. All right. You can see on the agenda upcoming town events, when our next town meeting will be October the 12th. And you can see yard waste and trash and recycling schedule as well. Is there anything else to come before the board this evening? All right, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Then moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Meeting
What time?